Please kill this fade, he's
Oh, the input lag! Oh! This is gonna be fun.
It's a very dangerous criminal fade, please kill it. Let's lock him up. Is it working, guys?
Kinda. I forget how you set a key call.
Oh, I don't know. Last time I used it, you couldn't like run the game in full screen at the point. It was just bugging out like crazy much. Never bothered to get a new one. But I mean, the key strokes aren't like, they're not super advanced, and people should be.
What?
User joined your
I
channel.
think that worked. Hello!
Yeah,
Det får med sig.
I even forgot you were coming. RIP.
Maybe that'll work, I don't know. Oh, I died.
System is broken.
No,
Always
you're
crashing.
broken. You're broken. Your country's crashing.
Not broken for you.
Doesn't really matter, Megan. It's not a real match. I mean, so. It's not like people haven't played on NA before.
Yeah, it's because the server's run by Nox, so I could make sure that cheats wouldn't crash it. Cheats are pretty heavy on performance.
Yeah, I got it working.
Is it?
Yeah. My mouse thing doesn't work, but I can't be bothered fixing it.
John! Hurry up, friend.
Oh, I joined the pub. Fucking game.
Help! Can I switch fade, buddy, please?
I hit retry. Oh, did you kill me when you crashed my game?
I want Infamous back. Help.
I don't.
No way, I don't actually want Infamous back. Tyrwing, why are you missing all your swipes? Halfway across the map. I wonder. Oh my god, that Marine was so low.
That's the end.
Was it? Nah, I don't think so. He will have a good laugh about it, I swear.
You will see my beautiful fade.
And then he will say, Tyrwing, do you have a job yet? And I'll say, yeah, I do. Fuck you, Infamous.
Don't play with me.
Fuck off. Try hard.
No!
Nope.
Same.
Same.
Are we starting or are we waiting for...
Yeah, I think
Wait,
Egoin's the last one to join,
jumps in
so
now.
he's here.
Who gets in it? I suppose it'd be easiest to just begin explaining the fade movement itself. For, I mean, we have people of various skill here, which is a good thing, I suppose, as well. So, the fade movement and the keys that you use to engage with the fade, people most likely know already, like just, forward, strafing, jumping, crouching, and all that. But the key combination of using it is that as long as you're moving as a fade, you need to be strafing always and crouching constantly. So your little finger should never let go of control unless you're tapping to metabolize, and your side fingers should never be letting go of your strafe buttons ever, unless you're switching strafe key, of course. But those fingers should always stay put whenever you're moving across the map. The strafe key is because you apply more speed momentum in the game, and it's easier to turn the fade around when you're counter strafing into a blink. The fade is the life form with an incredible amount of air control when it comes to movement, which means that the way you move, you can determine several points to turn to and move while you're doing it without having to use blink at the same time. So for example, a double jump in hub, where I am, under the power node, you can just blink once, then you can turn with your key to get all the way through, that's on your mouse, around objects. So what you do when you play Fade, you keep moving forward, you hold down your strafe keys, and then you counter strafe around corners and pillars objects all the time to keep up momentum so you don't lose it. Always holding down control constantly to make sure the hitbox and the Fade itself is smaller so you can pass through objects easier as well.
Tyrwing, what do you mean with control? Is it the crouch?
Control,
button?
crouch,
Crouch, yeah.
crouch. Always crouch.
The hitbox is actually the same when you
Yeah,
crouch
sorry,
in
the
the air.
hitbox was fixed, but the control thing makes it easier to pass through, like, think of where I am. Stop, right. Come over here. Where I am at the moment.
The collision box.
Yeah, collision
Yeah.
box is doing that's what
It's just easier to
like
get into
you
that.
get in, like just getting through this thing here is super easy when you're crouching, and if you angle your mouse properly, you can pass through with full momentum or speed at the same time, and that's why you crouch, so you can do this like crazy maneuvers through objects, say minimalizing the damage you take as you travel through the map against Marines all the time. The counter strafing and strafing all the time while you're moving is a bit of a practice thing, but it's a difference if I come from the south where asdfg is standing and I blink forward and then switch and blink, I lose a lot of speed. But if I just counter strafe around pillar all the time, I don't need as many blinks to move around the map. It's more a force of habit that this doesn't take very long to grow when you do it. Like, it's very easy when you start doing it.
You can tell when you do it right.
Yeah.
Your energy
That's the second part. Being able to maximize the way you move across the map constantly with as much energy as possible for engagements is key to playing Fade. Sometimes you will be forced to expend shit tons of energy just to get somewhere, like in a quick hive defense or anything, because you know all the Marines are there. Most of the time you want to keep as much energy as possible with you while you're still moving pretty fast across the map. For example, thinking the way that you're in the middle of the game, there are Marines everywhere, and you don't know if you might want to fall into an engagement. You don't know if there's a recapper, but you're assuming there is one. You don't want to run out of energy as soon as you engage a Marine. So basically, that's Fade movements, the basic part of it. Just holding down control to crouch, making sure that you can pass through collisions easier. Counter strafing all the time to make sure that you can pass around corners and the map easier, and then trying to conserve your energy by using these two things. The second more advanced part of the movement is playing... Sorry, if you want to keep...
I was going to talk about metabolize.
Oh, yeah, sure. Do that first.
So it's double blink and then metab, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, double jump.
Double jump, then metab. It's the most easy way to learn how to Fade. You just do 2 jumps and 1 blink until you learn the timings of every map and every environment, so you can start experimenting how you want to do it. But when you're new, you want to do the double jump. You can even do triple jumps depending on the area you're in.
Yeah, it depends on the
Sometimes-
urgency of your rotate as well.
You have to apply your movement to there. Like I was saying before, sometimes you'll expend more energy to get somewhere quicker because you need to be there. There's no time to save, and you just have to get there as soon as possible. You blow as much as you can just to get in time there.
Like if the hive's dying, for example.
Yeah.
Just being there, even though you can't engage because you've no energy, just being there.
You will
Just
make
them
sure
shoot the
that,
hive flies because they're worried about you.
or getting away from Marines, where you're trying to escape from a pinch or trap, and you need to get away as soon as possible. The only thing you have to watch out, of course, is that you don't run out of energy at the same time. That will get you killed as well.
Especially when you fight.
Right. So I was thinking the more advanced way you play Fade is something that a lot of people don't seem to do, and if you look at your crosshair while you're jumping around with your Fade, like, is your crosshair moving a lot? Like, is it very stiff? Like, you're not really moving your crosshair at all. Like, you say, if you're just walking down north tunnel to platform, like you're just moving forward, or you're not really moving across here, like most is moving maybe a centimeter or two while you're moving down? Or are you trying to move across the room in like trying to find the spots where you're covered from sides and everything to take minimal damage? That sets apart Fates very much in skill. Trying to find angles where you can move across rooms. When I'm fading, I will always be moving behind objects, in between objects. Like, people come to help please. Terrence, Lemon, Ja, Rambler, John, Mega. Don't worry, you don't need to excuse yourself. Like, a very easy thing to do here is, for example, even a skulk. Is just moving behind this beam over here, like this, linking across the room like that. It illustrates the point perfectly. That as long as you're behind that beam, the Marines can't shoot you, and you can pass through unharmed. Something else I like to do is go under the boxes here, where you can pass through the room, take information, and leave without taking damage. Tram is a great map for this, because there's so many ways you can move across the map without taking any damage from Marines. It's something that comes along with map knowledge as well, but finding those spots and those pathways where you minimize damage. Otherwise, consider this, like you're blinking across hub, and you're there to take information. We say the Marines have a face gear or something, and you want to know what's happening. You blink into the room, like in the middle like this, oh hello Marines, and then you take 400 damage and die. Or you blink across the room like this, in here, and leave out this hole again. I have barely been visible to the Marines, I know exactly what's going on, and I'm gone. Same with taking around across this beam as well. They don't have enough sight on me to make any damage, and I can instantly engage if I need to, or I can, you know, pick up a recap or whatever I need to do at that point, because I haven't taken any damage. The less damage you take, the more effective uptime you have, because you can take engagements and you can do things across the map. So you need to think of it as not wasting too much time as well by using these small movements. It ties into a second part, is that a lot of you guys probably, when you're taking damage and you start panicking like, oh shit, I got to get away from Marines because I'm dying, and then you just go straight line to the nearest exit point.
Yeah, never do that.
You have to stop doing that. That's the dumbest thing you can
The Marines are 100% expecting you to just run away when they get you though.
The first thing you need to do is break line of sight. Okay, so this is also a great room to see this. Over here, you fight in here, and you expect the Fade to just leave like this. Hello, I'm leaving. Oh, I'm dead. Rip. There's a better way of doing it. You look at this, look down this hallway I'm looking at, towards the east. There's so many ways you can hide here. Like you can go up here, break line of sight, quick, down, and behind this pillar, and then around the corner. Behind this box where I'm sitting right now is like the best spot ever. It saved me thousands of times already. And gathers and scrims. Diving down behind that box and then blinking out. Make sure that you can get out of the room without taking too much damage.
I'd like to point out the Marine counter is to jump on the box.
Oh, yeah.
And then jump over here, bunny up over here and just shoot him when he leaves.
Of course. But that's the point, like then you break up here to the side and then break over. You want to break as many corners as you can constantly to make sure that you can get away without taking damage. And it's a practice thing as well, that you need to just stay calm. Even when you're losing your HP and you're about to die or get pinched or whatever, stay calm and just figure out a movement pattern to block as much damage as possible.
Yeah, just take your time. Like figure out where the Marines are, figure out what you can see, how much close they are. Just get info before you do anything hasty.
I was gonna say, it goes a few steps. Like if you play against public Marines, you will always get away saving your life. You play against Gather Marines, you will most likely survive as well. You play against patient players like Heracles, it's gonna be really tough, because he knows exactly what you're doing and he's just waiting. He's basically just waiting for you to show yourself. When you dodge down here, you're gonna hear a normal Marines just gonna fire his entire clip into the door over there, and then you're free to leave. I mean, he has no bullets, so he's fine. But if you hear the Marines not firing all his bullets, you need to be a little bit... Does this sound weird in any way?
Salads.
It's salads.
Yeah, it's about trying to minimize the risk of leaving once you get low.
By following the most basic movement of the Fade, and aliens in Lurks should play the same way. use obscure yourself with the help of the room constantly,
Just
making
find the
sure
roof
that
and
you're
use
not
these shitty cards.
in sight. I mean, that's the power of the aliens, that you can use the room, the geometry of the rooms to your power. That's how you fight with an alien constantly. Have you ever come to repair room? People come
That
to
wasn't a question.
Yeah, sorry. I started with a question and came into normal. Yeah. Repair room is like a great room to show as well, where you can constantly zigzag between the beams to minimize any damage.
This room's really gay.
It is. It's the same thing with the skulk. You can jump with the beam. Usually people are really scared of going into repairs of skulk, like, oh my god, it's such an open room. But it's a great room. You have a ton of beams you can use that you can use to your advantage constantly. The more bullet, like say the Marine's tracing you with his LMG, the more bullets you can knock into these beams of his, the easier the fight will be. And you can go like 100% fucking crazy on him with the swipes when he's out of bullets. And he's gonna be really quick. And especially if you become erratic, like you keep moving a little bit back and forth between the beams, he can't really predict where you're going, so he can't really like burst fire you if you keep going at this. It's really easy to track you. But if you just keep zigzagging a little bit, it becomes a really much harder to track you. And that's where the counter strafing I told you about before, 8 switching doing 80-80 while you're moving the other way. Just conserve energy a little bit, make it easier so you're not slowing yourself down at the same time.
I need to be back really quickly. You can
That's
carry
fine.
on though.
It's really fine. Okay, so anyone has any questions about the movement itself of the fade?
I do.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, Kabu.
Can you mentioned earlier strafing and counter strafing.
Counter strafing, yeah.
Can you go into detail on those?
Okay, basically, so can you first spec me for a second?
Hold on.
Is there a marine help? Aloy, can you please fix this, buddy? Aloy? Thanks. I'm sure Salus is having a bit of fun, but it's hard to talk when he's shooting people down. Okay, so basically, putting into words. When I'm blinking, like, this is a blink forward, basically, it's without doing anything. But I said I'm blinking with using strafe key. Let's say if I start with using strafing to the left, I'll be around the pillar like this. On this, I'm blinking, then going left side. I'm counter strafing to the left constantly, making sure I have a momentum. And then as I switch to D key, going the other side. It's usually easier to do it when you're sitting in the game because you will notice the difference when you're strafing the wrong way.
Okay, so you're strafing left and turning right.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, does that conserve your momentum?
Yes.
Okay, so strafing either way will conserve your momentum while you're turning.
Yes. Instead of
Okay.
just blinking forward and having to turn and blink, that's gonna be a little bit slower, and instead you can just counter strafe around it. It's the same way when you're turning around certain objects. Like sometimes you can get one blink or jump less while you're doing things like that. And the way you add it up, you will become more effective. For example, the sneaking on the north side of hub, if you go from the entrance to hub to the power node, that's a fade, and back and forth, you can sneak away like one blink between the jumps there if you counter strafe. It makes your movement a lot less clunky, because now you can move a lot more freely when you're doing it. I think it ties into the way that the game itself, when you play Skulk and Marine, has a lot to do with strafing, very, very much. Just using strafe movement in this game is a key component to playing well. If you're just constantly moving your mouse to track things or do things, you lose a lot of situational awareness, I would like to say. Because you can't really focus. You can't move and focus at the same time, I feel like.
I hold W. I think if you don't, it needs to be.
Oh yeah, I always hold down W. I don't
It's
stop
not
using
Alpha
W.
F1.
No, I always hold down W. I don't stop using it.
And you're always pushing crouch.
Yes, I never. The only time I ever let go of crouch is when I tap metabolize. That's the only time. The same thing I can add as well is that my map key is on M, and I never let go of my map key either, basically. When I'm moving across the
What is the benefit of using crouch instead of not doing it?
I said geometry. You can
Okay, so
pass through smaller holes using crouch than you can using. Just
Okay,
like
so-
think of this where Mega's sitting right now, this vent over here. If you're standing up, you can't get in. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you have to
that's-
crouch in the middle of the jump. But if
what
you're
I got.
crouching at the same time, you can make a smoother transition in the jump.
But it has nothing to do with speed.
No.
No. It might look faster, that's just because you're close to the ground.
It's the same if you go into ore processing, the beam things everyone knows about with the holes and shit. Like you can pass through those holes much easier using crouch. It's basically just making yourself a little bit smaller on collision, so it's easier to pass through. Not not getting your head stuck in the roof or getting over fences and shit. Things like that make your
but
movement smoother.
Does it have influence on the hitbox?
On what?
No,
On the
only,
hitbox?
only when you're
No.
on the,
Okay.
only when you're on the ground, and when you're in the air it's the same as when you're on crouch.
Pretty sure the model is displaying itself as it's standing up, even if you're crouching while you're
Yeah,
in the air.
that's why you could go in the ceiling with the combo.
I miss old comp mod. It was great. I would have told you all about the X2Y acceleration that they took away. That was the
that's
key to being a super fast fade. That was great. But I think movement is covered. So as long as no one else has any questions on it. Does it seem rather clear or strange? I don't know, Mega. I never use debug speed anymore. I just know that I get to places really fast and I kill marines really fast usually. I used to track debug speed before with the old comp mod. When it was a purpose to it, like when you needed to know like how well you transitioned your jumps into speed. You basically reach max speed pretty quick and maintain it pretty easily. The only important thing is to learn how to make the jumps across the rooms so that you take minimal movements across the room instead of the speed.
It's the same thing as scope. It's just, you just need to play and then...
Yeah, scope is the same thing. You need to learn the jumps, how to move across the room with less jumps than anything else.
So does crouching affect how fast you can move?
No,
No.
it doesn't
No.
affect the max speed. No. It only affects collision. It's
Okay.
easier to move across the map.
If it looks faster, it's just because you're closer to the ground. It's just an illusion. And everyone thought the
Oh, yeah.
walk was really slow. It was a sense cheat.
Oh yeah, that was fun as well. I missed the walk.
And no one used except Terra.
Oh, I used it sometimes. Ray used it on me as well, I think. Was the first time I saw it. That's it. Further questions? Movement?
Is there a general rule about how many energy you should have left when you're engaging a marine?
Preferably never less than half. Ever. It's
Ideally,
a
it should
judge-
be full.
Yeah, I mean ideally of course full, because if you're moving like I'm doing, you are almost always full of energy.
Even without
Meta.
meta?
No. Without metab you have to be a lot more conservative of how you fight, when you fight and what you do, but your commander should always have metabolize up and ready when the fates pop.
Unless
It's long.
on drifters.
Anyway, without metabolize, you're basically wing clipped a lot because you have metabolize a buffer basically, like how much you can move and how many swipes you can land, well miss of course, but before you run out of energy or have to run away. And without metabolize, you know that you run out of energy really fucking fast. So you have to be a lot more careful without. Unless you're playing shift type, then you can be a little bit easier because you can maintain speeds really well with shift without using blink that much. This is the reason why I fucking love shift type. Okay. Any questions?
Is there any case you would prefer adrenaline trade?
No, ever, never. There is literally no reason ever to take adrenaline as a trade. It's
When you have it
completely
happens,
useless.
It's so
lousy.
slow.
Yeah.
It's
Are
yeah.
there any tricks for saving the energy?
So,
Not really, you just need to like feel it when you have to go and just Because if you miss some swipes, then you suddenly might run out of energy and lose the fight.
Sure.
Then you kind of have
The
to run
fighting
out
part
before you
is
die.
the fighting part is basically just learning, so not missing your swipes, I guess. But the trick, as I said, is learning the maps and knowing where you can jump. Like, is landing where I'm standing right now, it helps. Landing the jump here, where you come out from mezzanine, you can get almost all the way to North Tunnels on one blink if you can just get under Ollie. You have that, and just please ban salads from the server for a bit. It would be really nice. It's just annoying to have him swipe me all the time. It's finding the jumps where the elevation folds downwards, where you can get really far in one blink, is a very important part of the game. I said blinking about where I'm standing and then having momentum, of course, because I'm no speed now. You can get almost all the way over here with one blink. And that's true for a lot of the rooms in the game. It's the same jumping over here, like with momentum you can get almost all the way to mezzanine, and then you can get up, land like one jump and fall all the way down the stairs to server.
So whenever you move, you kind of already think about your energy, that you're not using any extra.
For me it's more in the back of my, it's more sitting in the back of like my spine.
It becomes an instant.
Yeah.
Like I almost never look at my energy, because I don't really need to. I know what I'm doing, I know where. But in the beginning, of course, I was watching my energy a lot when I started fading, because I realized if I fucked up, I was gonna die. Your energy is like your HP. If it goes too low, you're gonna get shit on as well.
Yeah.
You need to keep watching that for the beginning. But
So
eventually
bad.
you learn how to move the map. But most of the time, unless, like we said, debug speed. Unless you're going to somewhere you need to be really fucking fast, energy will be staying really high most of the time.
That being said, what strategies can you employ when you do run out of energy and you're in combat?
Hide.
Actually, that's true. Hiding for a second just to get one metabolize off can be worth so much. Because it applies to two things. First off, you're hiding, so all attention that went to you needs to go somewhere else. You get one metabolize off and you go back into combat, which means you can get one free swipe while they're turning the back to you. It's a very common way I'm going to talk about when we're engaging double plates. How to engage working as a pair and what we're doing while we're doing it. But
You scream at a teammate to just die.
But in the end, it kind of feels like it all comes down to the accuracy. If you can just kill the marine, you don't have to really escape or maneuver or do anything.
of course, that's
instead.
perfect engagement.
So,
You kill the marine, you won the engagement.
yeah.
But it's not always going to happen. Sometimes you will have to run away.
Harris team.
Yeah,
Harris team hit as well as you do is the thing.
that's the yeah.
So
you have to be
improving,
smart engagement.
just improving the accuracy maybe makes you a lot better, I guess.
It does,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, you can't say it's not part of being a fade, but it's not everything. Like, let's say, I'm not gonna BM, but take Aqua 5 for example. He had 90% accuracy before the update to the fade swipe, but he would always walk. He straight line walk you, and he would have no HP or he would die. Is he effective? Probably not. He killed one marine and he's out of the game for like 10-15 seconds healing.
Yeah, that's true.
If you can maintain accuracy over 60%, that's decent. Go 70, you're doing good, and 80 is really fucking good. And then you have like the perfect games with like 90 to 95%. But 60% should be what you should strive for. If you're noticing that you're missing a lot of swipes, you need to practice to aim down more. Because as I said before, your energy is like your HP. You're expending your life if you're missing swipes and wasting
So,
energy. is
have you
nothing.
been able to get up to 95% with the fade? The accuracy?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. That would be so hard.
Is I mean, it's not something you think about in the middle of the game. Usually me and Ace just kind of pull each other's ass whenever we end the game. Like, oh, what's your accuracy? And we just usually don't end up on the exact same fucking score every time. But it happens. Like when you're just relaxed, you play with your team, you're relaxed, you just work on doing as well as you can, and your accuracy goes up. because you notice that you're just landing swipes and taking good engagements.
You really shouldn't care about accuracy.
You shouldn't stress about it. I mean, if you're doing 20%, yeah, then maybe something's wrong. But I don't think anyone is doing 20% if they just try and think about their swipes a little bit.
That's
Sorry,
the key
Mega,
thing
I
as
didn't
well.
mean to offend you in any way. You're welcome here as well.
And there's another thing as well, is when you're swiping, to improve accuracy, you just take your time. Don't focus on trying to hit like the clutch impressive swipes, just focus on hitting. And the and the impressive stuff will just come with time.
Yeah, you like take good engagements as part of it. Taking the clutch fights looks impressive, like I said, but more often than not, you will end up being killed because you take an engagement you shouldn't have taken just to get some cool swipes in, or you overextending to get those high accuracies for no reason, and someone kills you from behind.
Yeah, that's true. Then it's not really worth it.
No. Alright, I'm gonna show you like the two main ways to fade fights. So like it's very no, not a team, it's single fade fighting. Like okay, so basically the first thing people learn when they start fading is I'm not gonna fucking fight you. I haven't played the game for weeks. I'm just gonna demonstrate.
Oh,
So the easiest way to fight as a fade in the beginning when you don't have control over yourself is that you go in and you go up. You can go up and down constantly because it's easier that way. But the problem with that is that first off, you're very easy to track when the Marine learns how to track you, and when you go up and down, you kinda you fall down slowly. So you're pretty easy to hit when the Marine knows what he's doing. Like you see asdfg, he's strafing away to fight, like make it easy to fight me. So the first way people learn is just go in, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Constantly going down, up. And I think most of you probably have tried this before, like when you try to fade and see how it works. The second way of playing fade that you learn when you get a little bit better is that you go around the Marine, constantly going around him to make it more difficult for him to track you. So you move in a circle around him constantly, and then you turn sides whenever you need to. I usually flick back and forth in 180s, and then sometimes you integrate the upwards flick as well. So you can see the difference going up and down and back and forth around the Marine. Does that seem clear?
Are you using metabolize during the fight?
I am. I'm trying to time them. It's a training habit as well, trying to time metabolize.
But when you go up like that, the commander has really good chance to met the
He does,
Marine.
indeed. That's also the second flaw, but it's
easier to just double swipe him if you've taken his armor away.
Yeah.
You also get to metab as well if you need to.
The thing is also when you go up like this, there's a trick to it. When you go up here and he's waiting for you, like asdfg is going to be very patient now. He knows he needs some meat shots to kill me. So when I'm falling down, I'm going to switch quick and transition. Fuck you, that's cheating.
Easy.
I think Silas turned the damage up.
Yeah. You go up here, you transition into side jump, and then you turn back into normal style again. Follow what I'm doing?
Or you get stuck on the wall.
Yeah. You go up, transition down to the side, and go in for the swipes in a circle. It's easy way to trick Marines, because he'll be waiting for the meat shot. And then when he waits for you to fall down, you switch, transition into sideways fighting, and he's probably gonna miss the meat shot. And if you're lucky, he's gonna fall out of sync with your swipes. And he's not gonna do any damage to you whatsoever if you land every swipe from that point. So learning how to fight sideways is very important. But what asdfg is doing right now is that he's baiting me into this small doorway over here, which is really difficult. Like you see, I don't have much room here. He's constantly baiting me down. That's why you need to fucking cheats, man. Oh, I hate you. That's when you need to transition a little bit, like keeping just above his head works fine. Like I'm not very
in the corner.
Yeah. And then I just walk him because I'm crouching asshole.
What key combinations are you using for circling around?
The same as I put in movements. I'm counter strafing. That's all I'm doing. I'm flicking with my mouse and counter strafing at the same time.
What mouse sensitivity are you using? Is it the same as your marine sensitivity, or do you boost
no.
it?
AS is using some weird shit. Don't ask him.
Yeah,
He's
don't
a-
ask me.
He's a project.
I've been changing it all
He,
week.
yeah, he changes every day and still performs godlike with it. I'm using 800 DPI with a 3.4 alien sensitivity. I have a higher alien sensitivity than marine sensitivity because of the fade. That's the only reason.
And if anyone's interested, mine's 800 DPI, 2.55 at the moment. It used to be 2.1. And then it used to be 1.5.
Actually, the say with the movement when you're attacking like this, you're trying to swipe him down. The goal of your goal is to can you stand still for 1 second, Ace? Is to have your sight on him with your back turned away and moving in the momentum like this away from him with your back. You're constantly swiping and then having him inside your sights. So you're not swiping him, going past and then turning around. Like you wanna constantly have him so you can just blink back into him whenever you need to.
So you always want to be facing the marine.
Yes. You want to have him in control of your engagement. You don't want him to be in control of the engagement.
It's like in every game. You never want to lose
Yeah.
track of what you're trying to kill, even if you can't shoot it at the.
Yeah, even if I can't kill him because I'm low and I don't know, maybe he's being med spammed, I still need to make sure that I know where he is constantly. The moment I lose track of him and he gets a free shot off, I'm dead.
Yeah, you need to keep the info up.
It's a very important part of the game. I hope Heracles would talk about it in marine practice as well, about how like keeping control situation and taking the engagement. Because it's a very basic thing for Skoks and Marines that transitions into fades. But you can very simply describe it as the more confident you are in the fight, the more control you have of the engagement. And you're more likely to win.
How do I avoid getting too much distance in the fight? It's a mistake I often do. I'm trying to get in and then suddenly the marine is like 2 feet away from me.
It's a practice thing. Learning when to flick away and back and forth constantly. It's I mean, something happens to me when I'm rusty as well. I take very long distances, and I just need to learn how to flick quick to get back to him. It's if your sensitivity might not be used to it or that it's not proper. I don't know what you're playing at the moment, but if it's not proper, it might be hard just getting back to the marine. Then try something higher or lower.
Okay, but the goal is to be as close as possible all the time?
Preferably yes. I mean, so basically maybe if you're staying in this circle around the marine, like this close, it's gonna be really and I'm gonna get stuck inside asdfg if I'm standing that close. But if I'm like this distance in my swipes, I'm gonna have the momentum and he's gonna be like, oh fuck mode all the time.
I still take your back.
Yeah, no,
Like I
don't do
feel
shit.
Sorry.
But if you're taking swipes over here and going back in like this, oh swipe, yeah, that's too far away. You're giving him way too much time to come back to you. If we're in this room, you see this square room here, you want to stay inside this this area. This is the most you want to go away from the marine ever in a fight like this. If you give him too much time, his reflexes are gonna catch up to you and he's gonna land those meat shots. So preferably you want to stay as close as possible. Actually, this is a really good room. Showing like if he's standing in this square here, you don't want to move away from like further than preferably.
I just want to point out that the blink in, swipe and blink away thing, it can actually be useful if you have regen, because you take his armor away and then you can just swipe him and heal in between.
Yeah, but that's if you're moving like this. You're moving across the beams constantly, taking time.
Are you using blink for the quick turnarounds and the flicks?
Yeah. If you want to change direction quickly, you need to use blink. Otherwise your momentum will just carry you in the other direction.
That's where it all comes in, that you're using the counter strafing and the momentum from the blinks, that you can expend your blinks into these fast rapid movements that allow you to bypass his shots as you're doing it. If you're using blink forward and blink backward and blink forward and blink, you see I'm not really that fast if I'm constantly using my mouse. And eventually I will lose momentum because the game just can't handle the movement that well. Celerity,
Celerity
100%.
always.
Celerity always. Adrenaline doesn't exist for Fade. It's garbage. The carapace or regen is up to preference completely. I play mostly carapace. But it's not to say that regen doesn't work. It's actually very viable as a Fade regen to be able to take down recap as fast and just keep on momentum across the map.
Regen is fine because when you get behind the lines you can just stay there, and any damage you take you just heal. So it's really hard to pinch you unless someone does like 400 damage in the fight and everyone rotates to that.
Celerity as a pet.
Yeah.
But don't you have to adapt the way you move when you have celerity because you're moving faster?
It's the same
You
there.
do.
It sits in your spine basically when you get used to it. Like back a few thousand hours ago, yeah, I'd say it was a difference. I'd have to like get used to it. But nowadays I don't really make a difference. I just know I love celerity.
Yeah.
I hate not playing well. I hate
Celerity's
playing
fun.
well.
When you play with Celerity one round and then you don't have it the next, you really notice it.
Tyrwing, can you do maybe like 3 example fights, about 1 good and 2 with the common mistakes?
1 second, there's so many Fade movement here, it's hard to hear. What were you saying?
Maybe you can do 3 example fights, 1 with the good example, 2 with common mistakes.
Edge, do some drills for a bit.
Oh goodness, yeah sure. People can pair up. I'm not sure if I should pair up because I'm so fucking tired I can't land anything. Actually, Ace, come here, asdfg, I'm gonna kill you.
Where's here?
How do you hold your mouse? I find it really difficult to alternate between the right and left mouse clicks that quickly.
Never really felt the difference between them. I don't know if asdfg.
So I hold my mouse with my index finger on the left mouse button and my middle one on the right. But I think some people hold it with the middle finger on the scroll wheel and the ring finger.
Yeah, that's how I
right.
hold it most of the time.
Yeah. I don't really know, I've never held it like that.
I have a normal.
That's how Toxic holds it.
Let's see. I mean, would people like to have a drill where you practice the 2 fighting movements and see how it works out for you? Like for example, we can take Lemon and Dijon can go to ore processing, Ja Ramda can go to warehouse, Pluggy and Mega can go to platform, Terrence and Cossack go to mezzanine.
Sure.
And one of you type Marine into the console. And then just attempt as well as you can into the console. Terrence. There we go, don't worry about it. Don't worry. The thing is, the goal is to stay close to the Marine without flying up in the roof. Like, you try to stay close to him constantly.
Because it's harder for the Marine to keep track of you when you're close?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a lot more difficult to keep track of you if you do that. There's a very easy counter to the Fade in the roof.
Should the Marine shoot at the Fade?
Let's try to fight each other like normal.
Okay, and not shotgun, normal rifle.
Wait, 1 second, Terrence. I'm just gonna turn you up, mate. There we go. What were you saying?
I was saying if we were using we use rifle or shotgun for the fight.
You can use a shotgun if you want. It's perfectly fine.
You can go bait one.
Cheeky fucking Marine.
Okay. He's vanished.
So try to stay as close as possible, even if you die right now.
Yeah.
If you want to respawn where you can type respawn the console.
Just respawn and repair. Yeah, I'm back.
Ah, okay. Oh yeah, because you have to die first. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Respawn puts you.
You can switch around if you want and try as well as the other person. I mean, it's obvious in the beginning. It's gonna be very awkward if you're not used to fighting that way. You feel like you're running, you're jumping into the marine and shit like that. But the goal is to blink past the marine at his side, and then flick swipe him as you're passing by, so you're not blinking into the marine.
Okay, so flux time.
Okay, do we switch?
No, you should. I was gonna say you should just take more care of your swipes. You seem like you're trying to flick to mega, but just be calm. Like take your time with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really used to that kind of fighting. I usually just try to get some
Try
swipes
not
and then
to,
I get out and refill my energy and like this.
Fucking unique.
Yeah,
Skin
somehow
problems, I
I
can't hear.
always feel that it's just about getting those swipes in. If you just get the marine down, then
User
you
disconnected
don't
from
have
your
to really
channel.
have a big difference.
User joined your channel.
But I don't know how to learn that, maybe with experience only.
Of course it's gonna be like, you're gonna win the fight with your swipes, because that's what kills the marine, but hitting the sweet spot where you can land those swipes in enough rapid succession between your jumps is the key to landing them as well. There is a there's a pattern to it that eventually when you get it, you land those swipes super quick without even like noticing what's going on really. But at the moment it's of course it's a little bit stressful, like you feel like, oh shit, I gotta land the swipes, I gotta land the swipes, I gotta land the swipes. You can type a respawn land inside that if you want.
Yeah, I guess you can't do it anymore after you have spawned.
That should work, it should work.
I always run out of energy so fast when I'm
Yeah, that's
stay so
the
close to the marines.
Yes?
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Like, okay. Like you say you have to go like as close as the marine as possible and like in sort of circles. But what if marine back is facing like a wall?
That's when the fun part comes in, where you have to make a judgment of how much do I sacrifice to kill this marine. asdfg was doing that to me in hub. He was trying to strafe along the walls to force me into a bad position. And that's where you just try to flick back and forth instead of going... That's when you start flicking back and forth along the wall instead of going circles around them.
Okay. My idea behind it is to bait the fade in so I can do lots of damage and another marine can just come and kill it. It's really easy to land the damage when the only thing you can do is just strafe left and right in front of your face.
But this is a very easy thing you can practice when you play games and when you drill in public, for example. So the public or gathers or whatever. You can practice trying to stay low and close to the marines for fast damage and trying to win the fights. The second part is knowing when you need to leave as well. Like, as soon as your armor is gone, you get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Because the greed is never paying off usually. When your armor is down, and you think the marine has one swipe left, he's gonna get a med pack, and then you're gonna die.
It's somebody's gonna get 17 and they're all gonna land.
Yep. It happened way too many times. Yeah, of course, sometimes you're gonna win the swipe, but it's usually never worth it. Your life form is worth a shit ton on the floor, on the field.
Yeah. the life forms on alien side is what the alien res is. Like on Marines it's the guns, and the upgrades on aliens it's the life forms.
And then you
I
can
was
make
just-
so you make quick calculation of shotgun, 20 PRS versus Fade, 35. You're more valuable to the Marines.
35 plus upgrades.
Yeah, that's it.
When you're counter-strafing around the Marine,
How do I get a shotgun?
Type shotgun on the console.
A gift shotgun.
I'll give shotgun even. Damn.
Uh,
Rusty.
do you aim where you're blinking, or are you just trying to get next to the Marine? Like, are you trying to land next to the Marine?
The goal is to land, blink past the Marine, and then flick swipe him past him to a point right behind him, and I can counter straight from that point to continue to the point. Stop shooting me.
Oh fuck, I lost my energy.
Alright, everyone can come back to hub now.
How do you keep your energy up if you're constantly like flicking at the enemy?
It's a practice question. Finding where, in the beginning you're gonna run out of energy very quickly, because you feel like, oh shit, I need to blink all the time. But if you do one blink with each swipe, or maybe two swipes between a blink, you'll find that you'll win the fights before you run out of energy. Sometimes, I was gonna go into that now in combat, is that you need to mix all the ways you can engage a Marine into one. You're not always going to win every engagement by going full frontal combat like that, going swipes. Sometimes you're going to have to take your time and bait shots in the roof a little bit, and go in for two quick swipes in the close combat, and then get out for a second. By using, like what we talked about, using the room as your cover for a second. Is using these pillars for a second to get the Marine to expend bullets while you're recuperating your energy for a second. It's not uncommon that I leave engagement, like you said, like a second or two just to get a metabolize in.
I have another question about how to approach a Marine at the first time. I mean, the Marine is normally waiting at you to land a meat shot when you're engaging in straight line. How do
you dodge around, you try and break line of sight. You don't just go straight for them.
Never go straight for the Marine. That's the worst thing you can do, because he's ready for you. What you want to do is you want to bait out the shot somehow, and you bait the shot by mind gaming him or breaking line of sight. Yeah, mind game is the easiest way. Like if you go straight for the Marine who's standing in the middle of the room, and then you switch direction really fast, and then switch again. Most Marines will be too eager and start shooting at that point, and then they will lose their timings with the shotgun.
So I'm changing the direction shortly before I'm in front of him.
Yeah, just try and be random. Like, just think about how you would think Fade would move in that situation.
When you take too much damage, you're moving too regularly, so the Marine can't pinpoint you too easily. It's a very important thing, actually, a very important trick that people should know. If you open your map, you see a Marine or something that you swipe and go around the corner, you will see him for a few more seconds before he disappears. If you're constantly being met with a meat shot like that, because he's constantly tracking you, that's what I do to Fades and Lurks all the time to pick him off as they approach me. You can turn direction behind the pillar again, or the objects. So you enter the room, you go to the left, and you turn back and go back into the middle, because he's expecting you to go on the left. It's a very simple maneuver, but it can catch a Marine off guard completely, because he has to turn and he's not prepared for what's going on. And it's a very common tactic when you're playing double Fade as a team. For
One Fade
example,
goes in, then the other goes.
When you engage hub, which you always do from server room with your aliens, is that instead of going double Fades straight into the room, team like Mina is right now, we usually split up and try to play different ways. One Fade might just go very, very straight into the room, and just take some time. The second Fade goes in from the side, turns direction, and goes back in. And when that second Fade goes back, that's when the engagement starts. He will land a swipe, the Marines will turn his attention to that Fade, because he's the one swiping. And then the first Fade in the roof will go down for swipes. you have to play with Marine attention a lot when you're playing Fade. It's the same with lurks when you're spiking from different sides. And learning timing those swipes with each other is key important because of the med pack. That will start raining down as soon as people smell a Fade in the field. It's like, oh my god, Fade needs to die. If you can land 2 swipes in less than 1 second, you're gonna be golden and you're gonna get killed Marines very quick. But think of it this way. You see the Fade coming down, you hear the Fade coming up and messing. Your commander's telling you, oh, okay guys, the Fades are coming, we got 2 shotguns in hub, we're fine, we're fucking ready, we're gonna nail these fuckers. And the both Fades just straight line down into the room and you just nail them, and they basically die before they enter the room. That's a really easy fight. But suddenly you have 2 Fades, where one is like splitting off up into the roof, the second one hiding behind the pillar, and then suddenly, while you're watching one Fade taking your attention, you're being swiped in the back. So your reflex is to turn and start shooting that Fade, but he's already gone. And the second Fade comes and starts swiping you from above. That's gonna be a hell of a fight, and you're gonna be like all over the place trying to figure out what's going on, while the Fades are just moving like in sync in a circle around you, getting a bigger pattern, like a combo pattern.
Yeah. It's something that's a lot easier to practice in a scrim rather than a gather.
Yeah.
In a gather sometimes it just happens, and other times it just doesn't. It's just because you don't have much synergy with the people you're playing with.
But it's the synergy you need to have as an alien team. That's why it's very difficult to play alien in public, because you can never trust anyone in public to do anything useful.
Thank you both for offering this training session.
Thanks, Kabubu. No problem.
What's causing the errors?
I don't know. 6,000 errors. I think
another question: doesn't the flick flags increase the chance of getting a meat shot in? I mean, when I'm the closest, then there's a higher chance of getting meated.
Of course, I mean the closer proximity you have, the closer chance is. But if you're solo Fade, you need to work with your speed, with your speed and your timings a lot to dodge. Okay, SFG there. Nice shots, mate. Nice shots. With the double Fade, you have a little bit more room to play off, and your cue should be, if you're the one dodging in the open air, and you hear a swipe happening, that's when you need to turn and go in immediately for your swipe. So one Fade will be setting the pace, and the second Fade follows that pace constantly. But every time you go in for a swipe, obviously that's when it's going to be most dangerous every time. And if you're unsure what's going to happen, you can just turn direction before you go in for the swipe, making sure the Marine doesn't like hit you, and you just run away for a little bit, and allowing the Fade buddy to take a swipe.
Should we reload the map, or the errors not?
We can reload the map.
Alright.
There we go. Obviously, a lot of things we talk about comes down to a lot of practice, but it's things that when you mention it, people start thinking about what they're doing, and that's when you start improving. When you turn on cheats. There we go. So when you're aware of what you need to practice on and what to do to improve your skill, is when you can start practicing. You can start taking account what's going on. You can start thinking and evaluating what's happening around you. Oops. Good job, guys.
Good luck, Harry.
If people more curious questions, anything that pops up?
Could you tell again what key combinations you're using for your flick flags, at what situation? So you're just blinking, jump, blinking again?
Okay, so I'm still using the basic setup that we talked about before. I'm holding down strafe all the time. I'm holding down crouch all the time, jumping. And I said, like, Kabul asked me what's the counter strafe, and it's when I'm turning to the right, I'm strafing left, and when I'm turning to the left, I'm strafing right. So if the Marine is the RT here, I'm constantly turning and strafing. And then sometimes I just do 180 flicks instead.
Ah, okay, so you're using blink to engage, and when you're not engaging, you're just using the counter strafes.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically blink, swipe, and jump. Blink, swipe, and jump. Blink, swipe, and jump. Constantly. And I'm obviously jumping as soon as I touch the ground all the time, regardless of what's happening. But the blink is the momentum bringing me back to the Marine. If turn and flick the swipe, and then I counter strafe jump and turn back to blink, swipe.
Ah, okay.
So there's a way of learning the timings, and it comes with a lot of practice. Sometimes you will just do it sheer force of habit when in the middle of a game you're moving across the field really fucking fast. You catch a Marine unaware, and you land all 4 swipes immediately.
When you blink towards the Marine, you always like aim for the feet of the Marine, so you can jump. So your jump occurs near to him?
Yes. I slightly to the left of the Marine and usually downwards.
Yeah.
Very
if you aim at the Marine, you're gonna fly into him, and then you just gonna collide with him. So aim to the side.
So always towards the feet as well. A lot of the things that, one of the biggest things that hasn't been mentioned yet is that, talking about having the stiff crosshair that you're not moving across a lot. That's a very important habit to learn as a Fade. For 2 reasons. When you're moving across the map, you're propelling yourself forward, regardless of what direction you look at for a second afterwards. You're not going to switch or slow down, which means you can turn your mouse wheel really quickly and just scout something to the sideways. It also means that you can flick swipes to the sides as you pass things, and that's what you want to do when you fight the Marines. You don't want to blink into him and swipe him, you want to flick to the side and swipe him. Preferably.
So for reference for what he means by stiff mouse movement, if you've ever played any Half-Life 1 game, and you've tried to bunny hop in that game, that's literally the same style of stiffness you need. It's maybe not quite as much horizontal movement.
I suppose a reference would have been if we had skulks. The way you fight with a skulk and a Fade is very different. A skulk keeps their crosshair almost still, constantly still, and then strafe around the Marine, and then keep the mouse so you're constantly like keeping point on the Marine, you're strafing around him. The Fade flicks, moves in a circle around the Marine, and then he flicks his crosshair 45 degrees to the side. Or sorry, 90 degrees to the side. That's the biggest. That's why I play with a higher sensitivity for Alien, because I don't need those flicks are easier to do on Alien, so I have a lot of movement than Marines. I have not as much movement, and I can time my shots very easily. I suppose the only thing we haven't really discussed is the role of the Fade, but the role isn't too expansive for Fade, and most people intuitively know what to do, usually, I'm gonna say. But the biggest concern that's not happening when you see gathers, for example, if you play them or in public, is that Fades like to take big fights only and like pad their stats, going like, oh my god, we have to take the gates, and we just keep flying into the gates and just taking damage. But the main concern of a Fade is to kill the recappers. You have enough HP to go down in the Marine lines and kill solo recappers trying to get the Marine resources up. And this is very distracting in public, because the Marines won't be watching their lanes whatsoever, and you will never have to be afraid of a trapping Marine or anything like that. In a real game, you'll obviously have to be really careful, because there will be Marines trying to pinch you from behind and killing you. Just getting that Fade kill is worth a lot. But think of it this way. Your skulks want to bait res. and you want to make sure your Skulks survive. So you're going to be the big, brutey guy killing those Marines. And if you can like pair up with a Skulk so he can get like 1 buy-in and get 2 swipes, it's going to be a lot easier for the both of you, and you'll take less damage. But everything you do when you do those missions ties back into the way that you should be playing Fade overall. Observation is a great room where I am at the moment for using everything I thought about the movements and using the geometry of the room to go back and forth between pillars to take minimized damage.
Now here's something you don't see every day. Thank God.
Don't be afraid to leave the room. Like, this is such a small room that you can leave for half a second on the pillar, take back and go in and fight again.
Another question, more about the Marine than the Fade. How I see you often avoiding swipes and strafing left and right very quickly. Is this a hit rate issue or is this a tactic?
That's a BM issue.
Nah, dodging as the Marine basically comes down to one fucking thing: be as random as possible. That's all there is.
Spam crouch, spin in a circle.
Spin in a circle, strafe like a motherfucker, spam crouch. That's it.
So you just run away in a straight line. And it's really confusing because everyone's strafe left and right.
Some people are just amazingly good at it, some are not as good.
I think Harris doing Marine, I really struggled to hit sometimes.
Harris Marine here crouches every fucking time.
No.
Then I use counters crouching. And there's people that I really dislike, like when Knights does his fucking dance, I really hate it. That's the thing, if the Marine is doing his strafing, thingamajigs, those movements are really for dodging Skulks, most more than Fades. It comes down to, we were talking about having some distance to the Marine, but not too far away. That allows you to gain enough momentum to pinpoint the Marine before his dodging gets too out of control if you're too close.
Okay,
I don't know how to explain it better.
Something that Loman just brought up is that sometimes Marines will jump onto platforms and to railings and shit to gain the height. Just so the Fade loses all the momentum when they try and swipe. This really sucks to try and demonstrate it. Like just jumping on boxes or on platforms. It's something that you need to watch out for.
Yeah, but it's annoying Marines such as me. Fucking love that shit. Standing near a platform like that is the best thing ever because you can control Skulks and Fades. Skulks are much easier to fight because they don't have the same momentum as a Fade.
Yeah, this
Fade
is actually
can
really
follow
good place.
easier.
If you come to Mez, you can see exactly what I mean. So if you fight a Fade here, you just jump off the side, you get so much distance and height, and the Fade has to like pull to try and get to you. It's a really shitty place to fight sometimes. And just jumping up when you're fighting on the floor.
Just mostly because of the fucking railing. That's the problem. That you need to get over it and then down.
You need to get over it and the damage you'll take because you're super predictable when you do it.
It's the same, almost the same thing if you're jumping down here as well. The Fade needs to turn, but this is the important thing. Here is where it comes in counter strafing, where you can make a very smooth transition moving. If the Marine jumps down here, down the stairs from the platform, you can blink and then turn in the middle of the air. The air control is so great in this game that you don't need to double blink for it. You can just turn in the air and jump down again and pick him off. You can do a lot of these experimental movements with just turning your mouse around and counter strafing at the same time.
So Lom also said that he jumps from side to side on the railing, just changing direction, just to try and juke the Fade. I can't do it very well.
Neither can Loom. Kappa.
Wow.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, he's missing. To be fair, I've never seen him do it though. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it.
It's really useful sometimes.
It is, for sure.
Just to dodge. Yeah, long's coming.
I might sound stupid, but if you do a 180, why would you counter strike? Isn't that
Is he gonna show
spelling
me
your
he does
throw?
the jump thing?
You know
Mega,
what I
can you
mean?
repeat?
If you're doing a 180, right, in the air,
Yeah.
and you're doing counter strafing while doing that, then you're expanding your turn. Is that on purpose?
It's really hard to hear because Ace was shooting and your voice is really low, Mega.
Yeah, I said the turn is going to be bigger if you counter
Yes.
strafing. Is that on purpose?
It's not the purpose per se, no. It's just the by-effect of it.
Oh, that's what he means. If you look at what Long's doing on those.
Oh yeah, it's like that, yeah.
I misunderstood him.
Yeah. It's just playing with geometry, it's the marine way of playing with geometry. You can fuck up fades and movement with... I mean, if you take Heracles, he's probably gonna show a lot of these fun things when he's playing Marines, how to move as a Marine, where you can do like a lot of dumb shit just by moving up and down things. Which is amazingly fun to do, and it really works to fuck up alien when they try to attack you. Yeah, boxes and everything.
Yeah, he means jump over the boxes.
Yeah. Oh, these faggot Marines. No. I know, do you have it? Or just questions?
Is there now any specific tactic how to avoid the strong strafing Marines or dodging Marines?
You can go... there are two ways. You can basically negate their dodging. If you're not fast in two ways, you can do it. Negate the dodging. The first way is that you take longer turns, like you said where you have the trouble sometimes taking long turns instead of short turns. It gives you more time to aim down the ring, but it also gives him more time to aim down you as well, the further away you are. The second one is playing it like a skulk, which means walking him. So the walking is never gonna be a good solution to anything, because that puts you at risk with, first off, you're super easy to hit, second off, med spam, and you can gain too much confidence doing it. I mean, when you try to run away from the Marine, he's gonna get a free shot on you every time. But those are the two ways if you're like the Marines are dodging you like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I hit that.
So it's a risk for reward basically. You're gonna put in a very high risk to get those fights in. And you can just shoot more questions. I don't think I have anything particular to add right now. I am having a horrible headache, so I'm gonna go sleep after this, I think.
What's the best way to practice Spade?
Spade? Depends on what you wanna know. Depends on what you're gonna practice. If you're gonna practice is pure killing Marines, you should practice on drills, 1 versus 1 shotguns.
On pub.
If you're gonna practice playing as a team, you should do drills 2v2, preferably. Preferably doing 1 shotgun, 1 rifle, so you can learn to practice killing, like how to separate Marines and high priority targets. You can always practice on public, obviously, if you really want to. I mean, most people that play public, so it makes sense. But it requires that you put some effort into thinking, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And what do I want to do? Like, just maybe practicing killing recappers, for like an entire game or two, where you just try to really push your boundaries, going down the lanes, and killing all the recappers constantly. Or taking difficult fights. Overextending it to learn, like, how much can I overextend? Like, where's my limit? The bad thing about public is because of the skill variation, you can usually get away with a lot of dumb shit for no reason. Because you can simply outskill it.
I think, okay, I agree now. Get drills are probably the best way. Gathers are also quite good to just do just practice like solo fading. God knows I've had enough practice on this.
I mean, the absolute best practice you can ever get is playing swipes with your team.
Yeah.
Because that's when you put on your game face and you actually practice getting better at what you're doing.
It's also where you build synergy, which is really important.
Okay, so the Morse,
Always.
and when I'm in range, stay as close as possible.
Yes.
Don't like hug their face though.
I mean, it goes without saying you shouldn't be so close that the Marine is like funding your balls, you know. But
User
like
was moved out of your channel.
like a tiny little distance where you can freely maneuver to the full extent of the fade movements.
Okay.
But for the close distance, I guess the problem is the shotgunners that then they...
Too much room, he would just aim down those shots every time you come close. Staying
that's true.
close is the easiest way to throw off his timings.
But doesn't it has to do also something with line of sight? Because when you're close at him, you're much faster out of his seeing range than when you're away from him.
It's entirely personal in some Marines. Some are gonna hit you regardless of what you're doing. But yes, it's the closer you are, the easier you have of a time to get out of his line of sight, his field of vision, as you're moving around. Anyway, and that's when you need to practice on getting away from those Marines. The fade, despite being a lot of HP and a high damage output, you're not like a god mode hero carry.
Yeah,
You will have to learn easy to kill.
hit.
Yeah, Marine accuracies always go up 10% when fade come out. The point is to learn, the biggest point for playing fade is to learn how to play with your team, playing with your second fade as well. Finding the openings where the Marine attention is going somewhere else to gain the free swipes and free bites. And all that is the key to winning as Alien. And that's why you should always try, even in public, even if they're not working with you, you should try to work off your teammates constantly. It will make you a better player, regardless if they're not paying attention, but you are.
Yeah, pubs and gathers are actually a really good way to practice that.
Yeah, what about
Particularly
railgun
gathers.
exos? How do you fight against railgun exos?
Railgun Exos, you don't, you run away.
You run away, you hold flag, and you spike them down. It's the only way.
You wait for your
Railguns are
team.
literally the hardest fucking thing in the game to fight because of the range of those fucking things. The hitbox is huge on everything, but Railgun Exos you have to play perfect with timings and try to force them into places where they're kind of crowded, but you have movement to use and line of sight. So what you want to do in a proper setup is that you want to have like one gorge and two lurks and two face on it, which means that the lurks have to play split from opposite sides, the gorge preferably from a third side, and then the fade's using geometry inside the room to go in for swipes as soon as he shoots one beam in one direction.
So
You have to
basically,
hit all those
everyone
swings.
take down the exo.
Yeah.
Exos should always be full attention from the entire team ASAP
Yeah.
to
User
bring
joined
down.
your channel.
If you give an EXO a chance to take a proper position, you're fucked. You're not getting the EXO down. Unless you're forcing him out of the position somehow. Railguns are way worse than miniguns in my opinion. Miniguns you can almost engage normally. So the
Miniguns you
spread-
can kill with just two fades if he misses if you go to the start. Because these guns will still do the heat, and you just swipe them down. Railgun is really irritating because it does so much damage at distance. You get so many times where you think, oh I got out with like 200 HP and then you just get one tap.
Yep.
You have to assume that you will be hit every time, so that you go one swipe, cover, one swipe, cover, one swipe. It's the same with the lurk. When you're floating and spiking, you need to float out, spike 2-3 spikes, go back in, and constantly do that. You just keep on utilizing cover as much as possible
Yeah,
to make sure
that's-
that you fuck up his timings, so he can't do any damage to anyone.
I think the best way to counter them is, as you said before, just draw them into a unfavorable position.
Instead, and dedicate your team from multiple directions.
Are you playing with max field of view in NS2 options?
I am, yes, 20.
Yeah, me too. forget what that actually is to fake, because NS2 is broken and the FOV is different for all life forms. I can probably look at it.
Either. I just know that I can't play with 0 anymore. It's it doesn't work at all for me.
I think the base is 113 or something for fade. I can't remember. It's really dumb though.
But Exos isn't what you should be worried about all along. It's the jetpack shotguns you should be worried about.
Yeah.
How do I getting more swipes in shotgun in jetpacks? I have the feeling that jetpacks are always a step ahead for me.
Jetpack's always gonna be a bitch. There's no way about it really. The jetpacks is something you want to herd into a bad position as well. Like you want to make him use his jet fuel to try and escape you, and then try to make him panic into a corner somewhere where you can land multiple swipes, and he can't use his rotation power. The problem is that the jetpack will almost always trying to rotate into his buddies.
Yeah.
So you have
so
to.
fast. It's really effective.
So everyone here has played jetpack, yeah? You know the difference in when you're like tapping your jet fuel a little bit, so you keep in the air and then move really fast somewhere, and when you tap it too hard and you get stuck moving one direction. When the Marine gets stuck moving one direction, that's when you want to strike him. When he's not really, he's very predictable in the way he's moving, so that's fine, that's fair and all of that. And sometimes it's easier, it's harder to hit shotgun shots while you're using a jetpack as well. But you should expect losing accuracy in shotguns. It's gonna happen. And yeah, to make sure that you're not getting too greedy chasing a jetpack.
Yeah.
It's very easy to kill a fade when you're propelling backwards away from the fade and the fade's just following you in a straight line. You should just back off instead. Because at the end of that road where the jetpack's heading, there's going to be like 2 more jetpacks, and those jetpacks are going to propel forward while he's propelling backwards, pulling you into an engagement where you can't possibly survive getting away. It's the same theory you use against Onos. As soon as you know an Onos come around the corner, you push 3 Marines into the Onos so that you pass the Onos. So he has to pass like twice the amount of distance before he gets away. That's what they do against Phage and Lurks with jetpacks. So you have to be extra careful in the way you approach jetpack.
Another thing to really watch out for is sometimes the jetpack will just float straight up, and then like, the first instinct is to just blink straight up after him. You should never do that. The jetpack's usually just faster than you. Or you're gonna use all your energy blinking up and you'll never actually catch him. And then it's just an easy kill for the Marine.
It's better to wait until he expends his jet fuel. Because his fuel takes a way longer time to regain than your energy. I mean, you all been there. You're playing Veil, there's Marines in cargo, and they're jetpacking around. And you're like a skulk, he's waiting, you're watching them from ground. You're waiting until one of the Marines start falling downwards. You realize he's out of jet fuel, and you just fucking pounce him and kill him ASAP. Those Marines are way easier to deal with than the ones with the full fuel. So the first rule is that you want to herd them into a bad position, which means forcing them to expend their fuel. And as soon as you start expending fuel, you become more active in chasing them down on the floor, because they'll panic, jump and shit, making sure they get grounded. And as soon as they get grounded, they usually are split, because the other 3 are in the roof, and the solo guy is split. You pick the solo guy. The thing with the jetpacks is people don't get is that it's a rotational thing. You use it to rotate, you don't use it inside a fight for Hydra. It's easy to just stay on the ground at that point, unless you're chasing life forms. For example, think of it this way. 4 jetpacks in the roof flying around like crazy idiots, and you guys just chasing them around and they're not really focusing anything useful. Or 4 shotgun jetpacks sitting in a corner nailing everything coming close to them, and as soon as a life form comes in, they just all chase down the life form really fucking fast with full focus. So the jetpacks you want to be worried about are the people that don't really use their jet fuel until they're chasing
The
something.
fight, yeah. That's a really common mistake. People will just be floating before the fight and use half their fuel.
It's the same thing as we talked about before a little bit with patience. The Marines, you want to be worried about the guy watching you from halfway across a room without firing, because he's just waiting to land them each shots. It's the same thing as when you're running away. You're sitting in a corner somewhere, you need to run down the hallway, and you hear the Marines not shooting after you. That's the dude you've got to be worried about. He's the one with the patience. And he's the one that's trying to take the engagement to win the engagement. I think I went on a weird limb there, but any other questions?
So if you have two fates, should they always stay together in the match?
No.
Not necessarily.
No. The
And ideal
fates...
How about the other life forms? Also, if you have Onai or Scouts, how do you play with them?
If you have Onos, you should just engage all together as a team and just crush the Marines.
The Onus itself can... You all know, it has so much HP. You have 4 extra life forms on the Onus. It's a really strong life form combined with a team. You should preferably have a lurk up with Umbra as well, helping you. But for the first question, Fates play together. No, Fates shouldn't always play together. I mentioned before, killing Recappas. You don't send 2 Fates to kill Recappas, you send 1 Fate to kill Recappas, while the second Fate plays with the team.
Yeah, just crushing the pressure groups or something. And if the Marines do a big pressure, that's when you group up.
So, for example, if you call for crush something, both Fates should respond immediately. But in your Fate off time, you go kill Recappas.
Or you go scouting or something.
Yeah, scouting as well.
Just be efficient with the time you have.
Since you're really fucking fast. Your movement is amazing, you can hear across the battlefield, and you can scout things way easier than anyone else. Plus you have enough HP to, even if someone is hiding somewhere and gets 1 meat shot off of you, you have enough HP to get away safely. So, playing with life forms, I mean, there's gonna be games where you're shit out of luck and you want solo play with scopes, but you'll have to make do in the way you play. Preferably you want to stay like a little tank. Usually in the mid game when the phase come out from Marines, you should have a few upgrades and shotguns and shit like that, which makes it a bit harder to operate on your own usually. So you pair up with people that you can pair up with, that you have available for the target that you are currently trying to take down. Say it's a pressure group, 2 Marines with shotguns, you go to the platform, you have a lurk and skulk and a fade ready. Together, or a lurk and fade and a gorge. And those guys team up, or the second fade joins up as well. So you just play with the life forms that you have on your hand at the moment, because you can't ignore the pressure group. It's like... Or you make a play for the gates with the life forms you have as well. But generally, when a fade goes solo, it's to kill a recapper.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's really no big reason to go solo. I think asdfg said it earlier as well. You still remember, fates are pretty fucking easy to hit. So even if you're solo, shooting rifles, you should always mind your HP. Next question, anyone? Oh, people are getting shy. Feels bad, man.
I have no questions left.
No.
So are you going to do this with other life forms too, sometimes? Or just with the
Can you just repeat the start of that? It's like my sound is really weird.
No, if you just do that with other life forms too in the future.
Yeah, there's a lurk training if you want.
There's a lurk training. Yeah, there's a lurk
and the
training.
marine tomorrow. I don't know when the lurk was on Sunday.
I
maybe.
think.
Yeah, there'll be more trainings. There will be more streaming. There will be more what's it called, VODs. Yeah, the people can watch. That makes sense. And don't be scared of Shu screaming. It's very normal. He's American. It's a habit, I think. Yeah, I think it's fair to wrap it up. It's been a lot of talking. I suppose there's a lot of thinking as well that you guys need to figure out. Just wrap your heads around.
I wonder if it would be at some point possible to have a training for the different maps. Like for example, now you showed us some nice spot where you can go with the fade, but how about the other maps? Something like the map specific.
The maps. The thing is, it's hard to pinpoint. Basically, this is small things that you pick up when you play the map for like a few thousand hours. The easiest way I did it with figuring out the map is that many hours ago, when I was still tryharding very hard to get good, I took my skulk, I loaded up the map, I turned on sheets, and I turned on third-person model, and I just walked around the map, every room, to check out like how the skulk model works in the rooms, to figure out where I could hide, like good hiding spots and shit, is learning the maps overall.
Yeah, I think knowing the map really makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference. You can just take like my scope on Veil. Holy shit. It's such a great map, I fucking love that map. There's a billion awesome hiding spots everywhere on that map. Playing Fade on...
Try hard scope.
Playing Fade on Tram is great too. There are maps I really fucking hate playing Fade on now, like... People play a fucking dumb map called Caged on public, and there's just no way you can get any rhyme and reason to your movement whatsoever. But of course, there are some maps that just feel better overall. Like Biodome is one of those maps I don't really like playing very much. Tram is pretty good.
Yeah,
but overall, it's a lot about playing the map and paying attention when you play the map.